Ever had one of those days where you're making real progress? Things are finally clicking, and then, out of nowhere, bam, you hit a mental wall. One minute, you're moving forward, feeling like you're on top of things, and the next, you're stuck, frozen, wondering, why am I even doing this? Maybe it's that project you've been chipping away at for weeks, only to feel like you're getting nowhere. Or maybe it's a personal goal, working out, learning a new skill, trying to make a big life change, and suddenly, all the motivation you had just vanishes. It's frustrating, right? But here's the thing, feeling stuck isn't a sign that you're failing. It's actually a normal part of the process. In fact, there's a reason this happens. Your brain is wired to resist long, drawn out challenges. But the good news? There's a way to break free. And it doesn't take some massive breakthrough or a surge of motivation. The real secret is small steps. When done right, they create unstoppable momentum. So if you've been feeling stuck lately, whether in work, relationships, personal growth, or something bigger, stick around. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to shift from feeling trapped to making real progress. You start a new project, goal, or habit, and in the beginning, everything feels fresh, exciting, even easy. You're motivated, energized, and ready to take on the world. But then, somewhere in the middle, that excitement fades. The finish line seems impossibly far away. And instead of feeling proud of how far you've come, all you can see is how much is still left to do. Sound familiar? Psychologists call this the stuck in the middle effect, and it explains why we lose motivation halfway through almost anything. It happens because our brains love beginnings and endings. Starting something new gives us a rush of excitement, and finishing something brings a sense of accomplishment. But the middle? That's where things get tricky. At the start of a goal, we're fueled by optimism. We imagine how great it will feel once we succeed. But as time passes, our brains shift focus from celebrating progress to obsessing over what's left to do. Instead of being proud of those first few steps, we start thinking, wow, I still have so far to go. Is this even worth it? This shift creates what I call the frustration loop, a cycle that looks something like this. 1. Overwhelm. You realize just how much effort is still needed. 2. Doubt. You start questioning yourself. Am I even capable of this? 3. Procrastination. Since the goal feels too big, you avoid it altogether. And once you fall into this loop, getting out can feel impossible. So how do you escape the frustration loop and actually keep going? It all comes down to understanding how progress really works. See, most people think success comes from big, dramatic efforts. They wait for inspiration to strike, thinking they need a huge breakthrough to get moving again. But in reality, progress isn't about giant leaps, it's about small, consistent steps. Here's why. Every time you accomplish something, even a tiny step, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical that keeps you motivated. The problem is when we focus too much on the end goal, we miss out on the small wins that actually keep us going. Think of it like climbing a mountain. If you only focus on the peak, you'll feel exhausted just thinking about how far away it is. But if you focus on taking one step, then another, and another, suddenly the climb doesn't feel so overwhelming. That's the key. Break your goal into micro tasks. Instead of saying, I need to finish this entire project, say, I just need to complete this one section. Instead of, I need to get in shape, say, I just need to do 10 minutes of exercise today. By making goals feel smaller and more achievable, you trick your brain into staying motivated. And once you start stacking small wins, that unstoppable momentum kicks in. And before you know it, you're moving forward again. Ever wonder why some people seem to push through challenges while others get stuck and give up? It's not because they have more willpower or motivation. It's because they understand how progress really works. And the secret? Small wins. Our brains are wired to crave accomplishment. Every time we complete something, even the smallest task, our brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical responsible for motivation and focus. Dopamine makes us feel rewarded, which in turn encourages us to keep going. The more we achieve, the more dopamine we get, and the easier it becomes to stay on track. But here's the problem. When we set huge, long term goals, we don't experience that dopamine hit often enough. Instead of feeling accomplished, we feel stuck because the finish line is too far away. And when progress feels slow or invisible, motivation starts to fade. This is exactly why so many people abandon their goals halfway through. So, how do you stay motivated? By breaking goals into micro tasks. Think of your brain like a smartphone. If you try to run a massive program all at once, it slows down, lags, and eventually crashes. But if you process small bits of data at a time, everything runs smoothly. The same applies to your goals. Trying to tackle a huge challenge all at once is overwhelming. But when you break it down into small, manageable actions, your brain stays engaged and motivated. For example, let's say you want to write a book. If you sit down and tell yourself, I need to write 50,000 words, your brain immediately goes into panic mode. That's a huge task. But what if you tell yourself, I just need to write 200 words today? Suddenly, it feels doable. You write 200 words, get a small dopamine hit, and feel motivated to keep going. This technique works for any goal. Fitness. Instead of saying, I need to lose 30 pounds, say, I just need to go for a 10-minute walk today. Studying. Instead of I need to master this entire subject, say, I'll just review one chapter. Cleaning. Instead of I need to organize my whole house, say, I'll just clean this one drawer. By focusing on one small step at a time, you remove the pressure and make it easier to take action. So if you're feeling stuck, don't focus on the entire mountain ahead. Just take the first step. That's how real progress happens. It's easy to feel like small actions don't matter, especially when faced with massive challenges. Whether it's personal growth, a career goal, or even global issues like climate change or social justice, we often think, what difference can I really make? But history tells a different story. One that proves big change always starts with small, consistent actions. Think about some of the biggest movements in history. They didn't begin with millions of people instantly rising up. They started with just a few individuals taking the first step. Take the civil rights movement in the US. Rosa Parks didn't set out to change the world when she refused to give up her bus seat in 1955. It was a simple act, one woman choosing to stand, or rather sit, her ground. But that small action sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, which lasted over a year and became a crucial moment in the fight against segregation. What started as a single act of defiance turned into a movement that changed laws and reshaped society. Or consider Mahatma Gandhi's Salt March in 1930. It was just a 240-mile walk to protest British salt taxes in India. But that walk became a symbol of resistance, rallying thousands and eventually leading to India's independence. Again, it started with one action, which inspired more people to join in, building unstoppable momentum. History is full of these moments, where a single, seemingly small action set off a chain reaction that led to massive change. And the reason these movements succeeded isn't just because of passion or a strong message. It's because the people involved believed their actions mattered. The unexpected power of moral outrage, how it fuels action when channeled right. Anger is often seen as a negative emotion, but when used correctly, it can be a powerful force for change. Think about history again. Many of the world's biggest movements were fueled by moral outrage. The civil rights movement gained momentum because people were outraged by injustice. Women's suffrage was driven by frustration over being denied basic rights. The fight against climate change has intensified as people grow increasingly angry at inaction from governments and corporations. The key is channeling that anger into productive action rather than letting it turn into frustration or hopelessness. Anger alone won't create change, but when combined with belief and small, consistent actions, it becomes a driving force. This applies to personal goals too. Maybe you're frustrated with your job, your health, or the state of your life. Instead of letting that frustration paralyze you, use it as fuel. Let it push you to take action, one step at a time, towards something better. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that real change always starts with one small step. The question is, what's yours going to be? If you've made it this far, you already know that feeling stuck isn't a permanent state, it's just a temporary roadblock. And the good news? You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to break free. You can start right now.